Hello everyone and welcome to another Digimon video. This time we're going to be taking a look at the Digimon Pendulum Color Wave 2, which means the version 4, 5 and 0 versions of the Digimon Pendulum. So Wind Guardians, Metal Empire and of course Virus Busters. I'm obviously most excited, as always, about the Wind Guardians version, not only because of the Palmon, of course, being in the Wind Guardians faction, but also the fact that Terramon is also in the Pendulum Color version of Wind Guardians. So unfortunately, what I was hoping for the Wave 2 of the Digimon Pendulum was a Pulsemon raisable, but unfortunately neither of these three have Pulsemon in it, but we do have Terramon, which probably is my new favourite of these new Digimon. So the Terramon evolution line being Terramon, Galemon, Grand Galemon and Zaphagamon, and I know this because Digimon Liberator finally got me into the Digimon TCG. So just like the Wave 1, these are completely USB-C rechargeable, so you can use this USB-C charger or just any USB-C thing that you have lying around, because that's kind of the main thing going on at the moment. So what is the time? It is 5:24 and lucky me, I've been on annual leave this week, so I've gone past 5 PM. So I'm able to be doing it at this time of day, where I would otherwise be finishing off at work. So lucky me. And of course, that is the Wind Guardian egg bouncing along there. As far as I'm aware, the Wave 2 of the Digimon Pendulum Color is the same as the Wave 1 in terms of functionality and features. The only difference being the roster, of course. So, for example, the Wind Guardians Pendulum's color being based on the original Wind Guardians Pendulum version, but of course including a few of the newer Digimon, such as Terramon, my beloved. But of course still having that same background, and Vidramon as the poster child. Again, seriously surprised that we didn't get Pulsemon on any of these, considering the fact that we have Gamamon and Lugamon on the Pendulum Colors. It's weird that we don't have the other VB mascot being the original VB mascot, Pulsemon. So we have our baby there, and of course we can train it. And the good thing about the Pendulum Color is it kind of shows you how much to shake it. That being a quality of life improvement from the original Pendulum, and of course the Pendulum 20. It tells you basically to shake until it's that color that it shows you. Which, again, is something that's great for me because you don't have to actually count how many times you shake it. So it says red at the start, and then when you shake it until it turns red, and then you know that that's the number that it wants you to shake to. And it's such a great quality of life improvement from the original Pendulum, and of course the Pendulum 20 as well. And otherwise it's more or less the same as the original. That's just a feature and functionality that I've mentioned in my Pendulum Color review videos that I really appreciate that they added. It's just kind of like a nice sort of thing, and also, again, I don't want to have to count every single shake that I do. I do that enough when I run my pendulum cycles, thank you very much. So let's try the other one as well, this being the Middle Empire one. In terms of where I got these, I got these three from Hobby Genki, which at this point I personally would not recommend. I've used them a few times and each time it's kind of been a little bit later each time. I had a pretty rough time getting my Digivice color from them, and I had kind of like a rough experience with them, so I probably personally wouldn't recommend them at this point in time. I don't feel like they're a very good service compared to the other ways you can get these. This video is not sponsored by anybody, but the other places that you can get these are places like Zenin TCG, and of course you can get these from proxy services, so Buyee and From Japan. Full disclosure, I have been sponsored by both Zenin TCG and Buyee in the past, but I recommend them as services anyway, even if they hadn't have sponsored me or done anything before. I just really like them as websites and as retailers. Again, I've used Buyee, From Japan, and Zenin TCG personally, not just because they have sponsored me. So in terms of how to get these, Zenin TCG and via proxy services like From Japan and Buyee. I got mine from Hobby Genki, but again, I wouldn't personally recommend them because I've had some pretty bad experiences with them, and I'm probably not going to use them again, to be honest. I would much rather use a service like From Japan or Buyee, or if I'm buying from a retailer, Zenin TCG. But that's just me. Unfortunately, these are premium Bandai Japan, so they are kind of those, if you don't pre-order them when they are first announced and first up for pre-order, they are harder to get a hand on, which is such a bummer, because that means that if you want to buy them once they're released, you kind of have to pay scalpers prices, which is super dumb and super not good for the fans. I'm hoping that we see more just regular retail releases of these, because they are quite fun. And again, while yes, they are toys for collectors and for people with nostalgia, I don't agree that the premium Bandai sort of framework is a good way of selling things, because it's basically just saying, hey, if you buy them now, you can get them, but if you can't buy them now, then that's your fault, and that's something that I'm kind of opposed for. But again, I also do buy them at pre-order prices, so basically, unfortunately, if you buy them later than that, you have to pay those extra fees. But again, this video is not sponsored by anybody, but I have been sponsored previously by them. But Zenin TCG do have pretty decent on-release prices. There are, of course, websites like Japan You Want, which I have used a lot in the past, but for release prices, I wouldn't recommend them because they don't tend to use fair prices on release. They have great prices for pre-order, but not so good prices for once something's actually released. They almost seem like they buy them at pre-order prices and then flip them for twice or 3 times as much. I, again, have used Japan You Want, but since they started doing that, I've used them a lot less than I used to, because that's kind of gross. Like, I get it that you're a company and you have to make a profit, but come on, you're flipping something effectively. You're no longer doing it for fans, you're doing it for money. And that's why I personally like Zen and TCG, because they do have things a little bit more expensive on release, but it's still fairly close for release prices. So yeah, my favorite store at the moment, again, this video not sponsored by anyone, and I have been sponsored by Zen and TCG in the past, is most likely Zen and TCG if you're going for a retailer. Otherwise, proxy services are still fantastic. You just plop in the website from Premium Bandai into From Japan or Bai. They buy it on your behalf and you pay for that, and then once it arrives you pay the fees and the shipping to you, which can be quite costly, but it's probably the quickest option. But again, that option can be quite costly. So those are the options to buy them from. I do get asked this a lot. That's why I went on for so long about the different websites and retailers and proxy services, I guess, that I would recommend and that I use. It depends on where you are in the world, obviously, because different places have different shipping fees or customs associated. But yeah, so in terms of the differences between the Pendulum Color Wave 2 and the Wave 1, again, that there's nothing more that they've added except for obviously the rosters on each of them. That being, this one's got the Wind Guardians roster, this one's got the Metal Empire, and this one's got the Virus Busters roster. So if you only want one of them, it's more or less what rosters you prefer. And I do so love how the Pendulum Digimon are so happy when they poo. So this one being the anime, I guess, roster. If you want the anime protagonists characters, that's probably the best bet. You get Digimon like Agumon and Gabumon and... oh good, my phone is too hot because it is now warmer weather, so it's telling me off because I'm recording when it's warm. But yeah, so that one's got your anime protags, this one's got your machine Digimon, like Gardramon, like Toy Agumon, you know, the cool robot dudes. But my favourite of these is always the Wind Guardians one, and I'm hoping that I can unlock Terramon as soon as possible. I believe that's one where I have to connect to another Digimon Pendulum, which of course I can't do while it is a baby, and it is now evolving to its baby 2 stage. There we go. So I'll probably go for like Palmon, I guess, because obviously Palmon is my favorite girl there. But then once I get Palmon, I'll connect it quickly to another Pendulum color so I can unlock Terramon, so my baby can be Terramon. And that is, you'd go to change, it goes into a floppy disk, or I guess a file, and then the egg hatches again. And then you can raise your second baby. Same with a lot of the moderns. But in any case, that's it for the Wave 2 of the Pendulum Color. Again, if you're wondering if they're worth buying, I did release a review video when the Wave 1 came out, so check that out if you haven't already. I'll put it in the description of this video, but I'll also probably put it in a pinned comment as well, so check that out. And if you have any comments, questions, etc, let me know in the comments section below. Like this video for yay Palmon, yay Terramon in a cute little device, so like it for that. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you have subscribed, tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your enemies, and of course, I'll see you in the next video. Bye!